Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to bring you this special bulletin. More and more, as arguments fly left and right and center, there seems to be more projection, gaslighting, I don't know, moving the goalpost over and over in this lovely little culture war that is Gamergate 2.0. And time again, we find people running their mouths, calling potential customers foolish, dummies, and whatnot. And of course, well, we're going to get to yet another one. Goes by the name of Andy Cortez, and apparently does a podcast or works for Kind of Funny Games. And the only reason I know anything about Kind of Funny Games is them spurging out during the election. But I don't talk about the election, so I didn't pay attention to the nonsense. But here we have Andy Cortez talking about us good old YouTubers, anti-woke, grifters, yada yada. But let's take a look at a few things he has to say, shall we? YouTubers used to get angry about loot boxes and forced monetization. Well, don't worry, we still do that. It's just now we also get angry about what we see as forced diversity, inclusion, and equity, and shit gameplay, but, whatever. Oh, so many of them now get angry about having to play a black guy in Subnautica 2. Well, no, that actually wasn't the argument. There was just indications, red flags, and of course, looking into the studio, realizing the possibility of what the game could end up being. But you don't want to talk about that, do you, Andy? Oh, yes, wanting the sexual assault victim in Silent Hill 2 to be hotter. Yet again, gaslighting. That's not the argument people had. The argument people had was, as a whole, being against the defeminization, desexualization of women in video games, because you cannot deny that is happening. And comparing the remaster to the original game and pointing out the differences and the red flags that continuously pop up. But Andy continues, corporate executive greed and mass layoffs are destroying the game industry. Now what is causing corporate executive greed? Mass layoffs. Now what's going on with those mass layoffs? Is it executive greed? Maybe a little bit here and there, but could it possibly be that one game after another is an unmitigated failure because, well, the paying customer isn't interested in my diversity, my inclusion, and my equity when it doesn't feel organic? Because what's been happening, Andy, is the core story, the gameplay, and the characters, well, all that stuff suffers. But I mainly wanted to go over his own words. So that way I can't, you're reading it on here, that could be fake. But let's go ahead and check out this lovely little, I'm going to turn a minute into 10. Anyway.
You fucking need DEI because
you heard that, folks? You heard that, ladies and gentlemen? We need DEI. Content creators, we need the DEI.
because you wouldn't have jobs if DEI didn't exist to complain about.
Ah, yes. I love this argument so much. If it weren't for DEI, you wouldn't have a job to complain about. No, not necessarily. There's an entire industry. There's an entire library of YouTube channels out there, content creators out there that talk about the positive, that have hours and hours and hours of Let's Plays, that do game guides, that do nice little happy content about things that they enjoy. And they have a massive following because they have better personalities than you, Andy. But the idea that, well, if you don't have anything to complain about, you wouldn't have anything to talk about. It's like, no, we would just talk about the good stuff. But unfortunately, we are so infested, infected, and inundated with slop over and over again, we make the choice to talk out against it. The truth about the DEI and the angry grift tubers. We're going to get into another one of his little posts here, but let's continue.
You wouldn't be making money on YouTube if DEI didn't exist. So you're really the ones that need it.
Oh, we need it. We need the infestation into our escapism. We need what is seen as forced diversity, forced inclusion, inorganic equity over and over. We need that. We are so desperate for that. Well, honestly, he is right, because our wallets can definitely use a break from the slop where we just kind of shut them down. We're not spending the $70, $100, $120 in some cases. Why would you do that? on single-player games will just hold on to that money. So I guess he's right. We need that. We need that in our lives to help us save money on the next massive failure.
Unless your game has only white dudes, if you have a woman, she better be fucking hot.
Yeah.
No. She better be fucking hot. We don't care about the white dudes. We just want not ugly characters, not ugly women. Because what's happening, again, what he seems the point that all of these individuals will continue to miss, intentionally or otherwise, is that no, you don't necessarily have to have a smoking hot woman. Just stop making the attractive women ugly as sin in your remasters, in your remakes over and over again. Stop taking attractive characters and giving them the jawline of Jay Leno. Stop doing that. And you'd be surprised. So what's happening now is we're so inundated again with the uglification of female characters in video games, where some other studio comes out and puts out a game with what could be argued as an overly sexualized character in Eve from Stellar Blade, and people celebrate and rejoice. If Stellar Blade had not been a fun game, it wouldn't have gone over as much. It helped that it's a fun game. Same thing with one. Let's see, what's the other one? First Descendant. People are having a lot of fun playing First Descendant. Or is it The Last Descendant? I played it a couple of times. I can't remember. Correct me in the comment section. Roast me in the comment section. But it helps that that game is fun to play. And it also helps that the female avatars are attractive, to say the least. But we're not going to deride those games for being overly sexualized, except, gentlemen like Andy Cortez here will definitely do, but it's not 100% necessity. And the idea that it has to be a white guy that I'm playing, no, it doesn't. Who has said that? But unfortunately, the reason why people react the way they do, Andy, is that one game after another puts in the diversity, the checkbox, ideology, and the game ends up being shit. So when you see a diversity checkbox, massive red flag, we know what to expect. It's the industry's fault, not us, not the paying customer, not the critics. It's the industry's fault for doing this, for conditioning gamers to expect one thing when they see it.
Yeah.
Get an ugly woman out of my game.
Yes, please. Yes, absolutely. 100% agree. I am not interested in playing an ugly character in a video game. Why is that a sin? Why is that a problem? Why is that a problem, Andy?
That lady better be super smoking hot.
Yeah.
That's the way they think, right?
Yes, absolutely. I agree 100%. And there's nothing wrong with that. So what's the problem?
Back in the day, game development studios were primarily white dudes.
Maybe it's because primarily white dudes wanted to make video games and everybody else didn't want to. I mean, Meritocracy, who knows?
And they didn't really think about diversity. And that's
It would be nice if people stopped thinking about diversity today, because then maybe we could get good stories, good characters, interesting worlds to play in. That'd be nice. Stop worrying about diversity and just make a good story. Make it fun first, fuckers.
That's one thing, right? It was a lot rarer to find non-white dudes in game development.
Again, maybe it's not because people were racist or didn't want to hire people of color. I hate that term. Sorry. Again, I'm not going to go off on that, not getting on that soapbox. Maybe it's just because it was just a bunch of white dudes, the nerds from school, the geeks, the nerds, who wanted to do video game programming. You ever think about that? Maybe it just wasn't such a broad subject for other demographics to check out until recently, which again, not a problem as long as you are bringing the merit, the experience, the innovation, the fun. Bring the fun.
And as that changes, and as college and learning and all that stuff kind of becomes more ubiquitous and more available for everybody, more and more people from different walks of life want to get into game development.
And there you go. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, Andy. The problem is when they don't have the talent, when they're continuously putting the self-insert over the story and the world and the gameplay. Huh. Are you sure you know how to do your job, Andy? Oh, wait, I think I remember where he's going with this.
Yeah.
And then what happens then?
They're making the characters the people that they know, that they the things that they.
If they're only making what they know, that seems kind of sad because they just don't know anything. I've played some of the modern audience games lately, and my goodness, boring, repetitive tirage. Is this what we have to look forward to from these demographics who are getting into the game industry? Or is it just the modern, the mainstream video game industry that has to worry about this? Because, I don't know, gone after a few independents that have more love, care, and passion for their product, and, well, the product came out a lot better.
See,
And it's
just like the white people did.
just like you put yourself into stories, right?
Yeah.
And I talked about that with
Self-insert is not done across the industry. It's not necessary, especially if you have some sort of character creator. Now, bringing up Dragon Age the Veilguard, that had a customizable character. Where's the necessity for that hideousness? You didn't have to restrict players so much. And again, things like that are the problems that we're talking about, Andy.
with Dragon Age Veilguard, how the game
Oh, he did bring it up. Dragon Age Veilguard was a character creator, a customizable character, and yet it was restrictive, unnecessarily restrictive.
director Corinne Bush, she's a trans woman, and sometimes in games you just put in your own sort of experiences.
Then maybe you want to put those experiences in it, make them enjoyable, make the dialogue better, make the sequences better. Maybe do that, and nobody's going to have a problem with your self-insert, regardless of where you come from, but make it interesting. But that's not what they did with Dragon Age the Veilguard.
And that's so natural to happen.
That's what
It's-
art is.
It's nothing that's supposed to offend anybody.
Mhm. But the bad writing, you seem to be, that's the problem here. People like Andy just gloss over the core problem, the number one problem. I mentioned this before, and I'll do it again. The character creator was the least of Dragon Age the Veilguard's problems, but we don't want to bring that up. It was the bad writing. It was the annoying character in Tosh. It was the linear storytelling that broke away from what Dragon Age was. Then maybe a self-insert issue. Do the self-inserts all you want to. Put your own personal ideas into it, but make it an interesting story, perhaps. Make people like the characters.
It's supposed to be, hey, fucking walk around and look around. The world has everybody.
But it's Dragon Age, you dipshit.
Your game's having it shouldn't stop you from playing it.
Of course not. The game's having it shouldn't stop you from playing it. And honestly, no. The trans characters, the top surgery scars in Dragon Age Veilguard were not the core problems of Dragon Age Veilguard. It was, oh, so many more things. But Andy Cortez, you are such a fantastic journalist that we obviously should listen to you, and because you know what you're talking about, right? If you're angry at the games industry for being too woke, I think you're a dummy. Okay, so we're going to resort to insults and name-calling. If you then fall for the right-wing grift, because that's all we're doing, folks. It's just a grift. We're just here to trick you, to sucker you out of your hard-earned money. Give me them super chats, ladies and gentlemen. Come and watch my videos, because I'm gonna tell you everything you want to know. Anybody who's listened to me long enough knows that's not true. Allow someone to profit off your anger. Andy, you're on a podcast. You're on a live stream. You're on YouTube. You're a grifter. You are a grifter. By your own words, you, sir, are a left-wing grifter. You are a liberal grifter because you're just out there saying things, allowing someone else. You're profiting off of someone else's anger, right? Are you calling yourself a dummy? Well, I think that would be easy enough to do, especially since good old Andy chomped at the bit, being the wonderful content creator that he is, just decided to share some blatantly false information. I can't really show all of them now. He did delete them. Sure, but tried to do some damage along the way because apparently someone made a little fake account going after Smash JT because, well, Smash is gaining some popularity right now, and good old Andy Cortez wanted to jump on that hate-filled bandwagon, and yet we're the ones called the hateful people, right? Setup and punchline are incredible. So Smash JT, hey Greggy, get cucked. Now, what is that important? Well, because apparently somebody made a little account on a cuckoldry website with Jeff T. Smash. And it took Smash like, what, 10, 20 minutes? Smash, I know you're listening, more than likely. Thank you very much for the listen. I appreciate it. But how long did it take? I'm gonna go check out your article. Why's your crag? Well, I guess the Smash JT wants to hide behind a block while spreading false rumors. False rumors. False rumors. A rumor is neither true nor false. It is just a rumor. It's something you hear and you talk about, something you take with a grain of salt. It is neither true nor false. Maybe you should check your, you should definitely wash your crack on that one, but maybe check your verbiage. Yes, I'm nitpicky about the English language, sorry, despite stumbling over my words at times. Then he won't mind me mentioning the Jeff T. Smash account on a cuckoldry hookup site created in 2015 that mentions his city hobbies and wife by name. Well, again, screenshots came out mentioning doing the whole thing and not realizing, apparently the person who changed their username didn't realize that you couldn't change other people's responding to. So after a little digging, Smash found out it's like, no, it proved who it was, what they posted that I definitely cannot show. And yeah, it's someone trying to, sully good old Smash's name online. And of course, Andy Cortez having the journalistic integrity of Kotaku jumped right on it. Sure, he did apparently come out and delete it because he's a putz. He's not a complete piece of shit. Only about 90%. Well, see, Andy, you could have stopped right there because your head's so far up your ass that, well, you don't, all you're interested in doing is moving the goalposts and gaslighting people into an argument that doesn't actually exist when it comes to dealing with you all. So, okay, the maturity, the levels of asshattery, I'm only about 90% a complete piece of shit. I don't think that went so positively as you think it did. Sorry you were harassed. I know you never bother or attack anyone on this website. No, we don't bother anyone. We just show off what they say. We show off what they do. And, well, here's your, I'm sure, my little channel's not going to give you a big old spotlight on you, but others are talking about you. Andy, gonna get your name out there. Gonna get stuff on record of what exactly kind of person you are, calling people dummies, making a list. You're added to it. Have a nice day. But let me know what you think in the comments section down below. Leave a like, dislike, do all those nifty little things that YouTubers beg you to do. Thank you for making it this far for sure, and I hope to see you on the next one.